Welcome to the community briefing. Today is the 5th of September, not the 3rd of September. Anybody catches that? It was the 3rd of September? Okay, yeah.
The day we all remember.
The day we always remember, right. But today you're going to remember this because we have a great presentation. We're here from the community briefing. My name is Gregory Sneed, and President and CEO of Lifesaver Financial Services. I help my clients keep more of the money they make. And now it's my pleasure and joy to bring to the virtual stage the September queen. Let's see, what's September? The laborious, hardworking, hardest working woman in accounting and financial training in certainly LA County. I don't know, maybe not the country of the world, but the hardest working accounting and financial trainer in LA County, Miss Crystal Mitchell.
That'd be me. And I'm feeling it today after working to 2:30 this morning. Welcome, everyone. Glad to have you to the community briefing, our regulars. Hello. And we have Catherine and Kathleen. I'm sorry. Catherine, Shirley, and then Catherine, Emma, and everyone. Welcome.
Thank you.
I am the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, as well as the inspiration behind this platform, mainly to make sure that we are using our voices to using our abilities to meet and greet those individuals, stakeholders, and leaders in our community that are making things happen, but as well as to keep them accountable, have conversation with them, get to know who they are. So next time you're at an event, you can walk up and say, hey, how are you? And so forth and so on. That's very, very important. So this platform was started during the pandemic for that very reason, to make sure we knew where every dollar was that could be distributed out to our community. Excuse me. I am a bookkeeper. I am besides having, I'm the co-director of Recycling Block Dollars, as well as my own practice. That I do accounting and bookkeeping, training, and workshops, and all that sort of stuff that Greg talked about. And I also have my own practice. So I want to welcome you all. This platform is powered and sponsored by Recycling Black Dollars and the BBA, the Black Business Association, and we're monetarily sponsored by the Los Angeles LDC, Southern California Edison, PCR, excuse me, Total Gas, as well as Wells Fargo Bank. We want to welcome you all to the platform. We have a fantastic team. You've already met Greg Sneed and Mr. Stephen Turner. He is the producer extraordinaire. He makes all this stuff come together. We are so appreciative of that. And then Miss Robin Billups, she'll be calling in shortly. So want to welcome you all. We have a fantastic guest. She is the keeper of our children's education. And so, an advocate and an activist for making sure that our children are properly educated. So we're excited to have her. Everyone else that's here, welcome. And Miss Denise Peoples is here. All the Peoples are here. So with that, I am going to turn it back over to Greg, and he's going to introduce our guest today. Please introduce yourself in the chat, and yourself and your business. All right, Greg, back to you.
All right, I had to find my mute button there. So, so today our guest is Yolande Beckles, and I had her bio here, and I had forgotten to print it out. She's no stranger to the community briefing. She has been a frequent attendee and guest, pretty much maybe from the inception. Now that I'm thinking back, I mean, certainly we're in 2024. She was around in 23, 22, and 21, and not maybe 2020. I'm not sure. We're now into our 4+ years. So we keep going, but she is the executive director and co-founder of the Knowledge Shop LA, Los Angeles. She's the CEO, and she has been training students and their families for the last 30 years. And she's created her own learning space where parents and students can learn And it's quite a unique space where they offer a number of products at the shop that meets the needs of the child, the parent, or the whole family. So, we relied in the past maybe that parents were educated and helping to educate their children, but today's challenges often involve educating the child and the parent on a lot of issues. So she enjoys with partnerships and collaboration with the community, and that's the heart of what she does. So she has been doing that now for 30 years. She has, you can tell when she begins speaking that she's not from Brooklyn. She's not from Georgia. She doesn't have some Georgia accent. All right. So I will leave it at that and bring to the virtual stage Yolande Beckles. Yeah, come off mute, girl. There you go.
Thank you so much for my introduction and welcome. I'm glad to see that I'm seeing NAPI members on this call. So thank you so much for those of you who could jump on the community briefing. And thank you to Stephen and to Greg and to Crystal for allowing me to speak at this really important hour. I'm bringing to you some very worrying news from the community that I wanted to share with all of you today. As Greg has already said, my background is as a community educator. So community briefing sits solely in my heart. I'm a social entrepreneur. I launched the Knowledge Shop 9 years ago when I came here from England with my 2 children. And I was very concerned about the American education system once I put them in it. And so rather than complain, I'm a bit like a Michelle Obama. I wanted to do something. So I did something and I created the Knowledge Shop. And over the last 9 years, we have trained over 500 students and their families. We offer after school programs, Saturday school, summer camps. We partner with Miss Crystal on her tennis programs. We do that for Saturday school. And, we really are about uplifting the brilliance of Black children. I'm a big believer in Asa Hilliard's quote, which is Black children are geniuses. If everybody looked at our children like that, our children would fulfill their potential. But I'm afraid we have a system that does not do that. And, we don't need to talk about its failure. We know what it's doing, and we're trying to change that by running programs at the Knowledge Shop. So we let the school systems do what it needs to do, which is designed to not educate our children. And then when our children come to the Knowledge Shop, we uplift our children's brilliance and remind them of the geniuses that they are. And then our children go out and fulfill that. So if you have children aged between the ages of 3 to 18, they can join our programs anytime throughout the year and come and get what we call a real Black cultural educational program. So that's the Knowledge Shop. Then NAPI, which is our second nonprofit that came out of the murder of George Floyd, was solely when 15 Black parents knocked on my door and said, you need to be the watchdog of what the district, LAUSD, is about to launch. It's called the Black Student Achievement Plan. And from our very first meeting, my husband, who is the vice president of NAPI, said Black students aren't the priority. And I'm saying that because we did a research program in the Knowledge Shop, which we looked at 23 years of the math data within LAUSD. And the same 100 schools had not had not one Black child proficient in 23 years. Are you hearing me? The same 100 schools did not have one Black child proficient in 23 years. And they're called the priority schools. So why is that happening in our communities when you look across LAUSD and you see on the west side, they can educate white and Asian and Latino students. But when it comes to our community, South Los Angeles, South Central, Manchester, Inglewood, our children is failing. And this is the data, which I'm happy to pull up on the screen to share with all of you, is that in the last 3 years of BSAP, so let me go back to the story of BSAP. So Dr. McKenna, our only Black board member, put out a resolution following the murder of George Floyd, to address the needs of Black students. And, you know, bless his cotton socks for wanting to do that. The problem that we have is when our Black board member puts forward such a resolution, us in the community must get behind that resolution. Because what happens in the district is that if they don't see our faces in the boardroom, they never feel they need to deliver to the level we expect to our children. So in year one, 125 million went into addressing the needs of Black students. If you go to lausd.net and put in BSAP, you will get the plan and you'll read the plan. And it says all the right things. We want to raise student achievement. We want to do social emotional learning. We want to have safe passages for our children. We want to improve the buildings that Black children go to. It says all the right things. And in year one, when we monitored and watched that closely, we saw things were beginning to impact. But the major issue in year one is they were trying to recruit and employ Black social workers and psychologists to work with our children because they always see our children as a deficit. You know, we're either crazy, mental. There's always something wrong with Black children. And as a mother of 5, I can tell you there ain't nothing wrong with my children. And I'm sure a whole heap of you on here know that there's nothing wrong with your children either. So they couldn't find all of the psychologists they wanted to. They said that was the reason why they didn't achieve all the outcomes that they wanted to in year one. They also recruited an amazing Black man to run the program. His name was Gerard Dupree. At the end of year one, the man resigned. The man left, he said, because he could not deliver the kind of program he wanted to do for our children. That should have been a sign to us in the Black community. When he sent me that email saying, I'm sorry, Yolanda, I'm leaving. I was like, what are you talking about? You just got here. How are you leaving? He said, I can't do the kind of job I want to do. So then year two, we invited Dr. Whitman and Dr. Travis Brandy to NAPI. There was about 70 of us in the room. It was all packed in the knowledge shop. And they told us it doesn't matter that Gerard Dupree is gone. It's going to get better in year two. You know, as you know, we've been struggling for 400 years of oppression. Bro, we don't want to hear all that. We don't want to hear all what you're struggling to do. We want you to do something. And we gave them a whole list of demands that we wanted to see. We wanted to see parent committees created at every school site where there was BSAP money going in. So we, the parents and community, could monitor that money to ensure it was meeting the needs of our children. We wanted to see community partnerships with schools so that nonprofits like the Knowledge Shop and others, and there's millions of us in this town, could start doing business with schools to ensure they were addressing the needs of our children. But more important, people, we were going to be following that money. And that's when the whole thing became muddled. When you start wanting to follow the money, then there's always a problem because the money was supposed to be going to the children. What we saw was a massive tier of new administration built in. 46 Black people. I'm glad Black people got jobs. 46 new administrators were put in to lead on BSAP in school sites and in the regions. All well and good. But when we met with those people, they couldn't get their job done because they were telling us the principals are in charge in the schools. So all we can do is influence and convince, but we can't make them do anything, Yolanda. Then they were taking Black children to HBCUs, trips, which we thought was fantastic. Yes, let's get our Black kids on planes. Let's give them the ability to think that they could go to an HBCU, a Morehouse, or a Spelman, or a Howard like Kamala. What did they do? By the end of the first trip, half the kids that were going were Latino children. It wasn't even Black children. And that's from the mouths of the babes. That wasn't them ever sharing the data with us because they never wanted to share the actual data. And then here comes the caveat of all caveats. At the end of year two, a group called Mums for Liberty, a bunch of white women, got together and wrote a complaint to the Office for Civil Rights saying that BSAP was racist to white children. So they present us with this complaint. And we said in Nappy, well, let Nappy, black families, let's bring accountable. No, said LAUSD. We don't want, and we don't want to rustle the feathers. We think we can deal with this. And I'm going to put my hand up and take ownership. Because like Michelle said, you need to do something, Yolanda. And I said, well, the district's got their lawyers. We don't have money for lawyers. Let them deal with it. At the end of this summer, I get called into a meeting with all the BSAP steering committee members to be told that the complaint has been upheld by OCR, and now that BSAP can no longer be for Black students. It's got to be for all students. People, every time something's got to happen for us and our children, everyone's got to water it down and find another way. So now we have a program that's for all students. Our children are still at the bottom. We jumped 2 points in math. I've already done that presentation to you. We jumped 2 points. In the 3 years, we spent 500 million on BSAP. We jumped 2 points. 2 points. So please, someone help me to understand how the OCR, will tell the district, yes, because of race, you can't do it for Black students. You're going to have to do it for all children. But the other students are already better than us anyway. The white children are at 77%. The Asian children in math are at 84%. The Latinos, who are undocumented immigrants, some of them, and don't even speak the language, are now at 32%. And the Black children are still at 19%. How is it that we're allowing this? So I sent an email to Robin, bless Robin's consort. She loves me. I said, Robin, how is this possible? And she sent it to Stephen and Crystal and said, what are we going to do? So here's the community briefing. What are we going to do, people? Now, next Tuesday, the board is going to have BSAP as an item to explain to us all how it's now for all students. We're asking the community to come out large and proud to that board meeting and say, we are no longer prepared when you create something that said it's for Black students to allow it to move from, as I always told you, I was always about espresso. Now I've moved to dolce de leche. Now I'm in latte again. How do we, with our little piece of crumbs that we get, move from being espresso all the way down to latte? Someone explain that to me. So we need you. We need our community. We need our business people. We need our money people. We need our educated people to come to that board and say to them, with the rest of us, that we are not accepting this response from the OCR. I am speaking with Al Sharpton's organization, the National Association Network, Action Network, to ask their lawyers to look at this complaint, to look at how did we move it from being because of I'm so sick of that Prop 209 crap about nothing can be race focused. How do our children are the lowest performers in California. How do we move it? How do we move it to be where it needs to be? So I just thought I wanted to take this opportunity to give you an update that I really need my community to support this and support us and support our children. My daughter goes in an LAUSD school every day and she goes, Mommy, please, you cannot leave me in this system that doesn't want to teach me. For a child who wants to learn, a child who loves education, I thought, well, I'm going to send her to this highly gifted program. And the teachers told us on back to school that our job is to teach to the test. That's all we do. That's not education. Nowhere in the world do people teach to test, only in America. This is insane. This is insane, America. So I'm just making you aware, if you've got children, grandchildren, nieces, cousins, you go to church, you need to be getting this word out. Like we're getting the word out, we need to put a Black woman in the White House. We need to be getting out. We need to put Black teachers, Black educators, and Black people in these classrooms to check on what's happening for our children, because this is pure nonsense, people. It's pure nonsense. And it's nonsense because we don't have the numbers. We're only 7% in the district. There's only 27,000 Black children. And I know you are knowing our schools are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Our parents are going, we can't deal with this no more. I'm taking my child out. I'm either homeschooling them or sending them. How can Wilders Prep in Inglewood have math scores at 64% for Black children. Did you hear me? 64%, but Audubon is at 12%.
With
Same in
85% Black students, Yolanda.
Right, exactly. So all these Black children go in that school every day, and those teachers told me our mission and our vision and our passion is to make sure every child who walks out here is math and English language arts literate. That's the mission of the school. And yet we're sending children to Audubon, and our children leave and go on to Crenshaw and Dorsey, and they're math illiterate. And this has been going on for 20 years on our watch. And I'm not even American. This is on our watch, people. So how can you help me? How can you help me? I'm passionate about changing the game, and I need you. Some of you are lawyers out there. Some of you are accountants out there. How are you going to find the next generation of employees to come into your institutions when our children are not going to be able to read, add, subtract, divide, and multiply? And that's the growth. The growth is the STEM sector. So we got to stop pretending. What option are we giving these children? We're giving them nothing. Nothing. And I need you. I need you. Thank you, Catherine, for joining NAPI and fighting alongside me. Thank you, Renee Harbour, for joining NAPI and fighting alongside me. Thank you, Crystal, for joining. You know, that's it. We either do something or we come on these briefings and we all feel good and we smile at each other. Oh, let's stroke each other. We're lovely Black people. Or we read reports like this that says the impact of racism on child and adolescent health. This racism that is systemic in this country is killing our little people. And we're sitting here going, oh, well, it's all going to get better. No, it isn't until we do something. Thank you. I put the NAPI link in the chat. I've put the Knowledge Shop link in the chat. I'm happy to take questions.
Yolanda,
What does
Yolanda,
NAPI
there was
stand
a-
for?
Oh, sorry.
NAPI stands for the National Association of African American Parents and Youth. And we are at 700 members. We're the fastest growing Black organization because I will not let up. Hi, Jasmine, NAPI member. I will not let up until I get all 250 million Black people in this country to buy that $1 membership. I will not let up.
When did the BSAP program start? Is it in its
This
second
is
year, third year?
No, this is year 4 we're going into.
Year 4.
Yes.
And the program goes for, was it funded for how long?
It was funded for 3 years, but the Cavallo gave it another year. We got money through the LCAP. It's 125 million per year. And every year I ask for that full budget and I look at it, all the money is being spent, but we're not seeing outcomes. You
And
cannot
misappropriated.
Yes, or misappropriated, exactly. Right?
Those services
sorry.
are blocked.
Right. So there's people like me who I was going to train Black families. I submit a proposal. I get the funding. There's all this game playing that goes on because they don't want someone like Yolanda Beckles to train parents because they will have the knowledge where they know how to do something. So they wait till the end of the school. Oh, we're so sorry, Yolanda. Can you come back next year? No. Why do you keep doing this to Black businesses? The community briefing, you need to be asking that procurement division, how many Black businesses earn money from this huge corporation called public education? Do you know how much money goes to LAUSD? We're talking
God. Holy
nearly,
Grail of death.
it's something like $13-15 billion in all these different pots. And they make out they're poor. Oh, please, can you ask your mummy to bring some paper towels? I'm not bringing
Yes.
those paper towels.
Yes.
Stop
So
picking
let
the
me
poor
let me
people.
ask this question. So what can we, so here's the thing. I was at a meeting the other day for what's happening in Ladera and that La Tierra, that whole area. And
Yeah.
there was a comment that was made. They had this meeting with Holly Mitchell, and she and it was a room full of people. It's been going on for a while. So all of the neighborhood housing got together. But one of the things they made a comment on was, When they were looking to do that in Westchester, that whole community came together and they pushed back and it didn't happen, right? I've been at other meetings when they wanted to put multi-units at the corner of Exposition and Crenshaw. We all came together and we yelled and they pushed back. And as you can see,
Preach,
nothing's
Crystal.
been put there as of right now. So
Right.
here's what I'm saying, Yolanda. We as a coalition here, the community briefing, others that have children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, the people that care about our children. We need to come together and be a loud voice. I learned this when I first went in the insurance industry and claims. The squeaky wheel is what get
That's
things
right.
done and turned. So we can't do it as a single entity. We have to do it as a large voice. We
That's
can
right.
no longer operate in a place where
Silos.
we are siloed. We need to
Mhm.
get all of, and I don't know what that looks like in Yolanda, but we need to get all of the individuals that are involved with schools and education, all the nonprofits that have programming for children. I sit on the board of Pete Brown. We have no problem being part of that conversation. But I think all the educators, whether you're educating in a school or you're educating outside, we need to become a large squeaky wheel. So we need to have a coalition of individuals that are coming together, and then we go and make enough noise till we get the media's attention on what is happening.
I'm in.
So with what just happened, far as the discrimination of white children, the same thing happened. That's why DEI is gone. That
Mhm.
is why
Oh, it's going away.
everything,
Big time.
even at the SBA, far as
Yep.
lending and so forth, somebody, actually they were Asian, they sued and said that it was only showing preference to Black people. But then we came back and said, no, we got the
Really?
numbers to prove that, right?
Right.
So this is what I think, and here's what we can do: come together, be organized, but with a large voice. Get
Yes.
letters. That's one of the things we did for the West Side Project. A letter went out, and everybody sent that letter to Holly Mitchell, forcing Holly Mitchell to have a meeting about it.
Yeah. We
All
need
right.
these career politicians to start acting on our behalf.
Right. So we need to come, but it has to be us as a coalition. It cannot
agree.
be us individual. They do not. It's like my mother used to say this. Mothers can yap, and kids will ignore them. Dads come into the room and everybody stands at attention, right? So we need some dads to come to attention. I was at an event, I was at a meeting, and they were saying the reason that teachers are so poorly paid is because 75% of the population of educators and teachers are women, and they ignore
And white.
us.
White
And white.
women.
But
Yeah.
we are in a place where women are being pushed back. But we as Black women know how strong we are. Look what they just did for Kamala. So we need to make sure as Black women, parents, educators, there are tons of Black educators out there, female, male, that we need to come together as a coalition. If that's through NAPI, then let's make that happen. Let's do a recruitment. And then at that point, we need to bring in all of our Black media, get this information to Roland Martin, use press releases, whatever we can do is to, so the world will know what's happening. We can't keep it in silent, because that's what white people do. If you can't get it outside of your own community, then you become a victim, and then they treat you like a victim. We need to be soldiers in what we do, and we need to be activated, and we need to activate our word. That is what is happening with Kamala right now, is because there is a movement of Black women that are pushing this whole agenda. Right. She will be president in November.
That's right.
Because of that. Stephen has his hand up.
First of all, thank you, Crystal. And I'd like to tell those that are in the audience, if you can put your comments in the chat box so the moderators can kind of control the flow. But I'd like to yield the floor to Denise. Denise.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. I was addressing your comment, which I thought was a great question. It said, is there a model of success that we can copy? So we have to look at the questions going in the chat to address the issue of Black student academic achievement. As I look at my sister, Yolandi, I'm saying to you, we have it already. We have the secret sauce. We have the data. We increase math scores everywhere we go. Yet the more we do it, the more we're ostracized.
Yes.
And what I found out is, starting from being a master recruiter and owning a staffing firm for many years, there were gatekeeping systems set up even within the utilities. And that, Crystal will know this because she's a big part of helping Amari, is that it was a huge gatekeeping and still is when you don't know the math, even if you know STEM. To that point, I'm saying to you, we have the blueprint, right? We have implemented, we have been successful. So when you go in to get into school districts like us, they ask for data. Do they ever have data? Answer me. Do they ever have data that they can just pop out on classrooms and the growth, doing qualitative and quantitative data individually? No. We come in because we have to do that because it's a gatekeeping system, because many African Americans don't have data. So then they say, bye-bye, you come back when you get data. So I spent thousands of dollars to create this massive data dump that is so on point to the standards of the state of California. And we bring it to them, we get in, we produce, we raise math scores in everyone. And the second gatekeeper is when you raise too much for Black kids, because then you'll be ostracized. They will say, oh, Miss Peoples, you did this. The teachers start to get jealous. The white teachers.
Right.
We have it coming from everywhere, and they have so much power to vote on whether we come back and coach them or teach their kids. Now, you tell me how we're supposed to do this in that institution.
Yes. I mean, I'm with you, Denise and I. We've been fighting this war since we met each other. But like she said, you know, we get blocked by, I'm sorry, we got a whole heap of Oreos in LAUSD who are administrators who look like us.
Even Black people.
Us. They are our own people who block that we are result-driven animals. Denise and I, we are result-driven by our work. We show them the data. The proof is in the pudding. Right. I have a whole research like you, Denise, now called Black Kids Love Math, because I'm tired of them talking about Black kids can't do math. Yes, we can.
They love it.
Mathematics. This is our subject. We are the civilization that created math in Africa. Stop saying this is white people and Romans and Chinese and Greeks. They came 400 years after us and stole it, burnt our stuff in Africa, and then started teaching it. So let's know our history so that we can argue in these rooms. So I am proud that this coalition will come together, because I'm with Crystal. I've been to National Council of Negro Women. Jasmine will tell you. Been running this. We're talking about being in our purple, sharpen your damn purple at the boardroom. I've been to the NAACP. Where are you on this argument? I went to the reparations people. They didn't even have education in the reparations document in California. Why was it not in there? You know that this is the biggest problem we have in this country, is the education of our children. I see Shamika's hand. Go, Shamika. Sorry.
So I just want to say I lived this. When BSAP started, my son was a student at Dorsey High School. My son graduated with a 4.3 GPA. He has high function autism.
Wow.
They dumbed my son down so bad. It kind of, when I think about it, it breaks my heart. He's in college now, engineering, but he's suffering because there were no math classes for him. He had taken all the math classes that he can take, to the point where they said, well, you have to go to a community college. In order for him to go to a community college, I'm just telling you, the gatekeeping and the barriers are real. And it's not necessarily by other skin, it's by our skin.
Yes.
The majority of the administration there was African American, Black, whatever you want to call it.
We got Black slave owners too.
BSLAP was being blocked by us.
Yes.
In that arena, our kids were not allowed initially to go on these trips to HBCUs. I wanted my son was accepted to 30 colleges. He had $60,000 in scholarship money that I had to hunt down for him. It wasn't hand delivered to him. You understand what I'm saying? What I don't understand as a parent who tried to fight for all the kids there. There is a huge population at that school of children who are on the autism spectrum that are misdiagnosed and not given services, that are brilliant. Those kids are so intelligent. And even the Upward Bound program, they have three Upward Bound programs. The Black Upward Bound program is blocked on every turn to do things, whereas the other ones that service the Latino, and no disrespect to anyone that's Latino, but what I don't understand is, why is it illegal for Black children to have services allocated to them, or after 3 years, they want to cut those services off? But we have years and years of money and services being allocated to Latino children. They have so many programs and opportunities. They get the scholarships. They get the help when it comes to things like because they have a college programs. But our kids don't get that. Our kids are told you have to do it yourself. You have to learn yourself. You have to go to community college and get the services. So what I'm saying, as a parent who's gone through it, I have neurodiverse children. We need some type of support from the time our children are in elementary school, not just high school when they're graduating. We need some type of support, and we need someone to fight for us, because I was that parent. And when I spoke up, they made it to where I couldn't even come on campus. You know what I mean? And when I was coming on campus,
That's real talk.
Donuts, money, they wouldn't even take my donations. Like, I was buying food for BSAP. I was trying to be a part of, because they have other programs too for what do you call it? They have other programs where you can parent programs. I couldn't even, every week I was bringing food. Like, I'm talking about spending $250 to feed the children who were going to play sports, to feed parents who were volunteering. Dorsey is known for its sports, and that program is broken. I'm just saying, it's like, and I'm not trying to tell family business. I think I'm talking to family right now. I'm saying that it's broken, and somehow it has to be fixed. And the school board, if I'm not mistaken, is not trying to fix it, and they're not listening to us.
That's because we're only speaking one voice. We don't have a mass voice. We have to create a mass voice of everyone that has interested in their children. I'm going to tell you, we've been Black for a long time in this country. And if we are quietly trying to protest, it ain't going to never happen.
Right.
If we come together in a mass group of people, a collective group of people with a collective agenda and a voice that gets to media. Media is the answer, guys, because if you get to mainstream media, because the same thing, look at what happened with George Floyd. Nothing took place until the media captured that on video, and they were forced to watch it during the pandemic. Things changed. What has happened since that? Since we're no longer active in that space, now the DEI, everything that has taken place that was there during the pandemic has now shifted back worse than it was before. So
Crystal,
remember, hold
this.
up one guy.
Yeah.
One is important to get the Black woman in, a woman, I don't care what color, but a woman in the presidency. So voting is very important. That's the other reason why voting is very important, because there are initiatives that are on that ballot. If we are not paying attention, if we're not reading the very, very small print in that ballot, then we are voting against ourselves. But most important, this message, Yolande, needs to go to the Sentinel. It needs to go to every news outlet in this country, into a press release going out to every news. This is critical. This is a crisis. Our children are just as much eligible for education as any other child out there. It has nothing to do with anything other than children are supposed to be educated. So we are part of this country, but we have to come together and organize in order to be heard in this country. They're not going to hear a single one voice. It's just not going to happen.
Thank you, Crystal.
The squeaky
Yeah.
wheel gets turned,
Right.
but it has to be a massive voice. And I'm going to leave it with this, and I think Stephen has his hand up. I'm going to leave it with this. The one thing that Donald Trump does extremely well is he takes that media and wraps it around his damn finger. He is in the news every single day, all day long, whether it's good or bad. We have to be on our social media. Use your social media to voice your opinions, to voice your how upset you are. It ain't just for pictures. Yolanda, a group of people that are social media are young people.
Yeah.
Use them to start screaming, we're
Right.
not being educated. Use their Instagram, their TikTok. Let's train our children to also speak for themselves.
Yes.
Stephen, you still had your hand up.
Yes, again, thank you, Crystal. Please continue to put comments in the chat, and our moderators will hold that. There's one key issue is mentorship, and we're fortunate on the line to have Dr. Hewitt Walker of the 100 Black Men address that. Mr. Walker, can you let yourself off mute?
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I'm with the 100 Black Men, and we have a program called Young Black Scholars. September 14th on the campus of West Los Angeles College, we have our kickoff. We offer programs for middle and high school African-American students in the Los Angeles Unified School District. And then, charter schools come to the table. So does some private schools. We offer a separate male mentoring program, a separate female mentoring program, and then we have a co-ed academic achievement program where we teach kids college readiness and skills that we think will help them be successful at the next level. I would encourage you to spread that word. I will put a link in the chat for that program that we're having. But the Young Black Scholars program is a known program, but we've been sort of overrun. And when I say overrun, we've gone to campuses and they'll say, well, we have a BSU for Black students. We don't need Young Black Scholars over here. We have Students Deserve. We don't need Young Black Scholars over here. We're organizing our kids to do this, that, or the other. And when we realize that if our academics aren't in order and our economics aren't in order, then we're in trouble no matter what else we're teaching our children. So I appreciate the opportunity to have spoken to the group. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much. So again, all of us are working in our silos. So we need to support everyone that's working in the space of children. I do what I do with my kids, and I am quite vocal on my social media. I use my platform to get what I want. And I would suggest, we got 18 people here, we start using our platform. Yolanda, if you have data that you need, send it over to me. I try to blast out 4 or 5 times a day. We had Ron Turner on last week from KGLH, getting press releases, going on KBLA with Tavis Smiley, and there's a number, Daphne DePrima's over there. There are a number of people. Get on every podcast that has anything to do with Black people and children. Let's get the media. I was watching something with Roland Martin yesterday, and they were saying he was calling someone out for something she was saying against Black people. One of the things that Roland, and they were saying, should we be wasting time on this? Roland said yes, because when you speak up and counteract the things that you hear, then other entities, other media outlets will then pick up the story. But if we're not being vocal outside of our communities and we're not screaming. And this is not a California issue. This is a nationwide issue. So educators, Black children all the way across this country, get on the bandwagon. Let's make this a United States issue, not just a California issue. And Yolanda, then we can be heard. I understand your frustration, my sister, because I feel frustrated. I posted something yesterday. It's damn frustrating to be Black in America. But we can fight this, but we have to do it in a way to get their attention, and media is really the only way. So if you guys got information, every one of us has a Facebook page, a Instagram page, a TikTok, or whatever. Let's use it to gather the collective voice of everyone, okay? That's the only way I know how to make change, is to make it loud enough where they cannot ignore you.
So,
Okay.
Crystal, this Saturday from 5 to 7 at the Knowledge Shop is our nappy meeting solely on BSAP. I'm encourage all of you who can come to that meeting, because I'm going to take that advice from Crystal and really try to shift this coalition of a combination of all of us talking about what our demands are to LAUSD. I'm done with the talking. I'm done with the hosting them here. Come listen. And then next year it's the same bullshit. And next year it's the same BS. You know, I talk as I mean. My daughter graduated LAUSD 5.0. My son graduated 4.0. My daughter's an astrophysicist, scientist, mathematician, and today. And we did it. We came from England, dropped in this bullshit and made it work for us. So we teach that to all our families. We don't have failure when it comes through this building. We just don't. But I need all of y'all to have that same conversation, because our children feel beat down in this system. My 12-year-old comes home every day and says, I do not want to go to school because they don't want to teach me in LAUSD. She wasn't saying that in her private school.
But Yolanda, that is why the Black schools, the enrollment is so low.
Yeah.
Because children are saying the same thing. They're not getting what they need, and why go? So
I want to share one more thing with you. If you've not read this woman's book, Punished for Dreaming, How School Reform Harms Black Children and How We Heal. If you haven't read Bettina Love's work, she is going to be the keynote speaker for NAPPY's conference next year. Because when I spoke to her, she goes, girlfriend, you are on it. Don't give up on your mission. You will pick up people along the way. And I am. But it's not people, it's institutions that are Black run and Black led I need to pick up. We need us all. NCNW has 2 million members. NAACP has 10 million members. Why are we sitting here with 18 of us? You see, we got to get with the program. That's what the white people are doing. And if you've not read the 994 pages of Project 2025, you need to, because the whole chapter on education is the dismantling of educating our children. So if you haven't read that, people, you need to start reading. I mean, these white people are for real coming after us at every level, whether we run a preschool, a business, a non-profit. They're dismantling any system that has helped us to succeed. They're going to dismantle it. Affirmative action has gone. Now they're on Prop 209. Now, I mean, you know, believe me when I tell you, this is real talk.
No, it is for real. Project 2025 is really real. We've been doing shows on the community briefing every week on it. So, Greg, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
All right. Yeah, we need to get a little more passion into this discussion, you know. So I do want to make a shout out for my Alpha brothers. I know the Kappas, the Qs, and the Sigmas all have programs that are actively designed on educating. I know we have our Alpha Esquires program that is active, and we have anywhere from 25 to 30 men that we are grooming pretty much each semester, showing them the way. The Kappas and the other fraternities are doing similar things. A number of churches are doing it. So individually, there's some things that are happening, and just to be encouraged. I also wanted to question what the involvement is on the parents. I know that both of my parents were very active with my education. I didn't go to the best, school, elementary, and certainly middle school. But they were active with me in making sure that I did homework and studying. But I'm hearing a lot from today's teachers and educators that parents aren't involved. So that is a big issue there as well. Some are, but a lot are not involved. So we need to get that moving as well. Um, would you put some information in? Okay, I was just about to ask you, could you put the information about the Saturday, but you just did that. Thank you. Uh, that was it. That's my piece.
Okay, so Yolanda, tell me what we need to do. So there are a number of, like Greg says, the not the divine nine. I know the deltas are heavily involved in education, AKAs are heavily involved, but again, we're operating in silos. The Black Women's Wellness, they're about kids. The Black Women's Network is about kids. We probably have 950,000 nonprofits in Los Angeles all by itself. And each one of us are working separately. And
That's our
so,
problem. That's
right.
our problem.
So I'm working with GLAC and the BBA and the Crenshaw Chamber of Closing in our business silos. Let's talk about what that looks like from an education, all of the organizations that are working for children. Then you guys create a coalition, and maybe that's under the already existing NAPI. Send over your passion. And then there's a number of, Sarah has a magazine, Sarah from the BBA, from Sweet Life. We have Jason from at the newspaper he has. I know we know folks over at the Sentinel. Let's start using our media, but most importantly, let's start using our social media. So Yolanda, you send me over stats. Denise, you send me over stats. We will start posting. Let's be consistent about it. Maybe Monday morning, 9 o'clock, everybody in this coalition or everybody on this call right now, there's 19 of us, we all post information and stats on our children and then what we need to do. Let's be proactive. And yes, talking, we got to get beyond talking. We got to get together and unfortunately, we got to force the connection. But whenever I say we have to leave a better world for children, whenever I speak to organizations, when I walk away, people are engaged because it ain't about us. It's about our children. We have to make a better way for them. So use the children every way we can. There are a number of activists within the children themselves. Yes, utilize our children. Let's come together with an active plan that will make a change and get all of us on the same passionate space that you are. Yolanda, when I'm in class with my kids, man, I'm beating stuff in. One of the kids said, Auntie, she spoke on voting in the business class. Well, voting is a valuable part of business. You can't do business if they shut you down. So they need to understand that. So that's what I have to say on the topic. We have to just be much more proactive, but we got to do it collectively. Stephen, and then Emma and Roz is on the call. We can start with Emma and Roz. They have a voting informational event coming up every Wednesday leading up until election. And Emma, if you can throw
I will
that
be
in
there.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Emma, if you're still here, if you can put that in the chat, your flyer. I'm trying to find it while we've been talking, and I don't know where I put it, but let me find your email. And there we go, guys. So Stephen, back to you.
Okay, I wanted to yield the floor and give them advance notice very briefly to Dana and to Jasmine. Dana, could you unmute yourself?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Hi, Dana.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
briefly.
Okay, great. One,
Oh, now we lost you.
okay, so as a young mom here in LA, I'm not originally from here. I'm from Washington, D.C. But it makes 5 years being here, 6 months before COVID. I have what grade is my child in? Sixth grade, right? She just entered into middle school. And I have naturally become an advocate. My mom worked in Washington, D.C., with the children's hospital, some nonprofit, things like that. And one day I looked up and I'm like, why am I doing this work? And I was like, oh, because my mom used to do it, right? She cared about our education. She told us to never, put our learning on the back burner, is what she would say. And so I remember having these speeches, but I say that to say at a very young age, meaning I always value my education, put my daughter in public school system. My experience with the BSAP program was pretty much non-existent. We're more on mid-city West LA. We were at Crescent Heights Elementary School. And as a mom, just trying to, navigate and figure out what I needed to do and just gain some support. I didn't get that. When I heard about the BSAP program, I was so excited because I'm like, okay, well, some of the needs that will be met that I need within that partnership with the school that my daughter go to, I felt like I was going to gain that support. And so when they put somebody in place to be over the BSAP program, I asked like, hey, what are you guys doing for the program? Or what resources do you have with this, this program? And basically I was told like, hey, yeah, we're going to have a game night one of these days. And I was like, a game night? Okay, and let me know. Never heard of any information, just to kind of, at least maybe that was the icebreaker, right? To get people in. Never heard anything about it. I kind of kept following up and just really got the runaround and really no resources whatsoever. Thank God for Miss Yolande, because that was my resource, and I said, for me, I never wanted to be in the education system because it's so it has so many limits, but being in the community sometimes is a little harder because we have to just operate. We don't necessarily operate different, but we don't necessarily have a system. So where I come from, though, in my background, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with direct sales, but network marketing, so to speak. But there's 7 basic skills to be able to organize this coalition, right? I had to figure out, okay, what coalition mean? That doesn't mean everybody gets together. And when I'm in some of these, and I also work for Washington, D.C. public school as a before and after school admin aide, right? I've been to council members meetings in Washington, D.C. with politicians and things like that. And so I've even know a program called PAVE, which stands for Parents Amplifying Voices, I think of equity or something like that. And they do a really great job, but there's also white people behind them to say, hey, these are areas that the children are lacking in general. So they have people in their team that really believes in the Black education for students, right? And so one thing that I realized that everybody start with whatever their niche is. So for instance, I'm a parent, right? Let me
I'm sorry, Dana, I have to mute you. Can you hear me? Crystal, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, we only have about 1 minute. I'm sorry.
Dana, can you reach out to Dana? I'm gonna put my information in and Yolanda, or put your information in, and then let's have a conversation with Yolanda and see your skills, because that's what we need. Everybody's skills. What are you at? So if you would put your information in the chat, Yolanda, if you'll pull that information, and then let's see if we can start creating the movement. That's what we're gonna call it. The educational movement for Black folks, okay? And let's use all of our skills to make that happen. We're gonna close down, Stephen. Okay,
talk to you guys later.
All right, bye-bye, Denise. Stephen, go ahead, and then who's gonna be here next week? And we're gonna make it move. We're gonna help you. We're gonna get this moved. It's not helping you, it's helping our children, Yolanda.
Yeah, Yolanda, first, thank you so much. This is just a continuing dialogue. Let's not stop here. Next week, we're going to have Owen Smith, the owner of the Inglewood Theater, not only talk about some of the dynamic things that's going on in Inglewood at his theater, but also about Richard and getting out the vote. And Jasmine, we want you to come next week because we want to give you the floor.
Yeah, it's okay. All I was going to say was join NAPI and come on Saturday if you can, please.
All right. Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you,
I'm
guys.
supposed to be at Audubon on Saturday, but I'm gonna try to make both. Yes, Emma, I did put the flyer in
Put it
the
into, I
chat.
found it. So thank you
Okay.
guys. I want all of you guys to participate. We really need your support. If you think you know someone that can come and speak on behalf of what we're doing, please contact myself or Rosalind. Her phone number is on the flyer. We look forward to you guys coming. And this election, as we say, is so important. And the educational piece that we heard today fits right into this. I mean, you have to be educated to understand what's going on and vote in order to get what we want. So please attend, support us. And if you know someone, call us immediately. Thank you, guys.
We're not just supporting you, my dear. We're supporting all of us in this country that believe in democracy.
And I sent our flyer out of state, and they love that they're going to try to do something in their state like this. So we have to do it.
Exactly. I'm going to upload the flyer to the Win with Black Women. I'm on, and as well as Kelly Todd. Let's send it over to the Coalition of Black Women as well. So that because they're looking to see what's going on, and then they'll blast it amongst everybody else. So I'll post it on that site. But we're gonna close out. Thank you guys, Yolanda. You know, I'm very passionate about our children, and I feel it in my heart. It brings tears to my eyes that we even have to have this conversation. But we need to change our approach, and we need to be more in the face, and we need to be more vocal and more collective in our mission here. We will get movement. We've seen it happen. So we need to make sure that we have to get their attention, but they can't hear us if we're not doing it in the way that it needs to be heard, right? So that's what Martin Luther King did, is a chipping at the ice, but collectively, right? So I have a lot of friends in a lot of the organizations that work with kids. Let's compile a list. Let's put together what we need to put together. Let's get everybody on board. And then if they're not at a meeting, then we need to, everyone collectively, if all the 900 nonprofits that deal with children in Los Angeles posting on their social media, I bet you we're going to hear from somebody. Okay. So that's the way we need to do that. Yes, use our Black power in a more collective way. Yes, and we will make movement, because we can bang this drum forever by ourselves. It's not going to work. We have to bang our drum collectively. All right. Yes. So thank you guys for being here, and let's keep this passion up. Go tell everybody, and I'll make sure that we continue to tell everybody. Yolanda, please send me any information that you need me to start posting.
I will.
And then let's make sure because voting is important. That Project 2025. Even if Kamala gets in there, if we don't get the House and the Congress, Project 25 is moving in because it's already moved in. That's what happened with Roe versus Wade. It is already active. The Heritage Foundation has been working on this to eliminate all minorities, especially Black people.
New Jim Crow. That's what it is.
If they eliminate us, then they don't have to apologize to us. They don't have to give us reparations. If they eliminate us from the state of the country, diminish us back down to slaves, then they have won. We can't let them win. Our ancestors didn't fought too long for this, but we have to go about it differently. So I want to thank everyone. Come back next week. We're going to be talking about voting. We're going to be talking about voting all the way up until November 5th.
Yes.
And then after that, on November 6th, we're going to be celebrating Kamala. I'm going to the inauguration, so I've already manifested her to winning. I've already made my reservations, and that's where I'll be on January 20th in DC. So let's move forward with a collective effort and see if we can get everybody on board with the same passion. All right, guys, have a fantastic week. We will see you all next Thursday, same time.
When do you post the recording so we can put that on Nappy's newsletter?
I will do this one this afternoon.
Wonderful. Thank you so much,
guys.
Thank you.
Shamika, I will call you, Shamika Harris. I've got your email. I'm going to post you now, okay?
Okay, dear. Thank you so much.
I'd love to talk to you. Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
So I'm going to stop the live and stop the